However, the temptation of Thompson's first-grade villa is also quite big. Moreover, Elaine still doesn't know how long she will be locked in it. When the time comes to live in Thompson's first-grade villa by himself, wouldn't it be cool if Elaine is in the way? Thinking of this, the Lady Wilson was ready to agree. So she immediately said, "Elaine, you can write a letter now, and I will spare you when you finish writing, and I won't hit you anymore." Elaine was shrewd in her heart and blurted out, "Mom, don't hit me in the future, I must have written it to you the day I leave." The Lady Wilson was not confused, and said sharply, "You want to play me? If I'm going to let it go, if you don't write about it, wouldn't I be fooled by you?" Elaine blurted out, "I can swear to heaven, I will write to you." The Lady Wilson snorted coldly, "I don't believe your oath." At this time, Jenna Jones on the side smiled and said, "Lady Wilson, isn't it easy? If she writes that everything is fine now, but if she doesn't write, beat her 10 times and 20 times a day, I don't think she can write." "Right!" Elaine yelled, "You can't do this. It will kill me. You won't have a better life if you kill me." Jenna Jones grinned and said, "Don't worry, it's really fatal. I will tie your sheets to the beams of the room, and then hang your body. I will say that you committed suicide in fear of sin." With a few words, Jenna Jones scared Elaine almost to wet her pants. She didn't doubt Jenna Jones's words at all, because Jenna Jones seemed to be too vicious, coupled with the fact that she had beaten her very hard just now, it immediately cast a psychological shadow on her. Old Mrs. Wilson relied on Jenna Jones to support herself, so she kicked Elaine and cursed, "Are you writing or not writing?" Elaine let out a painful cry, and said, "I write, I can write." Jenna Jones slapped her again and cursed, "You are a cheap bone. Tell you well that you don't agree. You will be honest if I beat you." Elaine was so wronged and hurriedly blurted out, "You didn't tell me well, just do it when you come up." Jenna Jones gritted her teeth, raised her hand and slapped fiercely, cursing, "Dare to talk back? It's you." This slap slapped Elaine's 2 front teeth that had been loosened. Elaine only felt that her upper lip suddenly collapsed, and then the bloody smell of her mouth melted away. The 2 teeth of the upper front jaw had been beaten into the mouth and almost swallowed by herself. She spit out the teeth in her mouth in a hurry, looked at the 2 bloody front teeth, crying heartbreakingly, "You kill me. I don't want to live anymore." Jenna Jones went up and slapped a few more times, cursing, "What are you calling? The whole detention center shows that your voice is loud?" Elaine was crying desperately while covering her face, but the old Mrs. Wilson was trembling with excitement. She grabbed Elaine's hair, shook it vigorously, and cursed, "Why are you crying? At the first grade of Thompson, are you not very good? Why are you crying at this time? Why don't you let so many inmates see? What kind of school do you have? Orus Hill No. 1 Vixen." Wendy also hurriedly said to everyone at this time, "Everyone, don't be fooled by her acting skills. This person has long been broken to the bone, and she is a wolf-hearted bastard. Very bad to her mother-in-law and lives in Thompson's first grade. She doesn't take in the homeless mother-in-law in her big villa. The key point is that she didn't buy the villa by herself. It was her son-in-law who bluffed and tricked her outside." Everyone was stunned, and some people exclaimed, "What does her son-in-law do? How can he deceive a big villa?" Wendy hurriedly said, "It doesn't matter what you are doing. The key is to change to any normal person. Don't worry about how the son-in-law got the big villa. You have the opportunity to live in and thank the son-in-law? She doesn't. Every day, she frustrated her daughter to divorce her son-in-law. You say, for this kind of ungrateful vixen, hitting her a few times is not equivalent to doing things for the sky?" Everyone nodded repeatedly. Anyway, no matter how they hear it, they think that Elaine is a beast, so no matter how badly she fights, she won't get rid of this hatred. At this time, Elaine could only sit on the ground and cry with her face in her hands, not daring to say a word. At this time, Jenna Jones threw her a piece of paper and a pen, and shouted coldly, "Write quickly, if you don't write well, I will hit you." Elaine could only swallow her anger, picked up the pen tremblingly, and started writing on the paper. After writing the letter, the old Mrs. Wilson snatched it over and looked at the content. She found that Elaine indeed in the letter and asked Claire to solve the room for the family of 4. She immediately became proud of her and said with a smile, "This is good. Now, 15 days later, you have no chance to enjoy the Thompson product. I will go with Noah, and Harold and Wendy will enjoy it for you. Stay here." When Elaine thought that she might stay in jail for the rest of her life, she couldn't help but cried miserably. Jenna Jones was so disgusted, she went straight up and kicked her, and said, "Why are you crying? It's so annoying." Elaine clutched the place where she was kicked, and asked, "Didn't you say you won't hit me?" Jenna Jones nodded and said coldly, "I said, but I regret it now, can't it?" When Elaine heard this, she was immediately trembling with Jenna Jones's shamelessness, and hurriedly said to Mrs. Wilson, "Mom, you promised me, you won't let her hit me after I write the letter." "What did I promise you?" The old Mrs. Wilson looked at her disgustingly, pinched the inside of her arm with a rough old hand, and cursed, "You dog are so arrogant, I really think you can write a note. Are you not being beaten? You may not be able to get out for the rest of your life. I will have the opportunity to beat you in the next 15 days.